What's up, everybody? You are tuned in to the Style Breakdown with Chris Style. Hope everybody's having a good day, all my wrestling fans out there. I've been away for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I try to drop content when I can, man. Rather be a little busy with work and other projects that I do, other podcasts and I do, but I do try to at least get one in a week. And I wanted to bring you some content today just to give you a few thoughts on a few guys. Um, a few wrestlers, a few superstars, give my thoughts on how right now they're being booked. And yeah, man, just you don't have to agree with me. You could disagree with me. You could feel differently. Some I know a lot of people are fans of certain wrestlers and may have their thoughts and feelings of certain wrestlers, but at the end of the day, as a wrestling community, we should be all I feel like we all should be able to give our opinions whether we disagree or agree with them or not. So I'm gonna go ahead and kick this thing off with Jacob Fatu. So coming off of backlash, Jacob Fatu he loses to Roman Reigns, but he loses because Roman had to grasp for desperate measures because of the tongue and death grip. Um, he pulls the turnbuckle thing off, and he's grabbing for the ref at first, and then he grabs the turnbuckle off, and then he throws him into the corner, hits his head against the metal part of the turnbuckle, gets the spear off, and gets the 1, 2, 3 on Jacob Fatu at Backlash. And then we fast forward to Monday Night Raw, and Roman Reigns, he's like, I need Jacob to acknowledge me. That was the part of the contract. He's gonna acknowledge me. Adam Pierce, he wants to, get rid of Jacob Fatu after him assaulting, Roman Reigns after the match of Backlash. Of course, Jacob Fatu, he did assault, he beat up and gave him the tongue and death grip again. Um, give Roman Reigns the tongue and death grip, beat up, once again, beating up security guards, and he beat up, I think, he beat up Adam Pierce, or hit Adam Pierce or threw him, and so Adam Pierce, he wants Jacob Fatu to be up out of there. He wants him to get rid of him, but Roman Reigns is like, no, before you let him go, let me get my acknowledgement from him, and I'll do it myself. I'll take Jacob out. So fast forward it, you know, Roman comes out, tells Jacob to come out. Jacob comes out. And when he's coming to the, and earlier in the night, the Usos, Jay, he's outside waiting for Jacob to talk to him. Jay or Jimmy is in there with Roman Reigns, pretty much telling them like, we need to get rid of him. And Roman is like, he's gonna acknowledge me. He's dead set on Jacob Fatu acknowledging him. And so Jacob pulls up. Jay is trying to talk some sense into him. Jacob is not hearing nothing that Jay is trying to say to him. He's trying to tell him, you're gonna you're stepping over your bounds. You're crossing the line. You're stepping over the lines of going at the tribal chief like you're doing. Um, and then finally, Jacob just gets sick of it and it headbutts Jay Uso. Does a couple headbutts. Then he takes out Jimmy Uso going to the ring. Then goes into the ring. Him and Roman Reigns are going at it, fighting. Finally, that tongue and death grip comes into play. Um, they go to the outside. Roman Reigns looks like he's about to powerbomb Jacob to the table, but that tongue and death grip gets him. Jacob power bombs Roman Reigns through the table, and and then Jacob is walking away. Well, he's the tongue and neck grip on him some more. Security guards and stuff start coming out. Um, then he runs back. And then the Usos are out there checking on Roman, and they're over by the barricade. Jacob looks like the credits are rolling, so it looks like the Raw is about to be over. He's leaving, and then he thinks about it. And he runs back and he runs to the barricade and runs through Roman Reigns, the Usos, takes them all out. And yeah, man, it was they're booking Jacob to be this monster now, and the crowd is right behind him. You know what I'm saying? I think the crowd is kind of confused sometimes. They don't know what to cheer or boo him because it is against the OTC. But I do think that right now Jacob is in a prime position right now to. I personally think that at SummerSlam he should get the belt from Roman Reigns. I do. I don't know how what the plans were for Roman to have a long booking, but I wouldn't be mad at if we're looking at um SummerSlam for him to get the belt off of Roman and you push him to be your champion on and just have him go on a rampage with that belt. And maybe we can get to something else with another person that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But um but I imagine maybe Jacob's not going to win the belt anytime soon. Maybe this is a way for him to be a part of the bloodline. I don't know, or the first family. I don't honestly, I don't know where they're going with this first family thing because it's kind of confusing. Because Roman, he's getting beat up. The Usos are not coming out to help him, and maybe this is part of the new arc of Roman. Like he doesn't want their help. He doesn't want them to come help them. He wants to do it on his own to show that he could do it on his own. But with somebody against Jacob Fatu, it's showing that maybe he can't do it on his own. Maybe he does need his cousins to come out and help him out. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward with this Roman Reigns Jacob Fatu beef, and does it initially end with Jacob Fatu being a world champion? Because I do believe that he has world champion aspirations. I do think that he is the guy that you could put the belt on for a little bit. I'm not saying he has to have a long Bruno Sammartino, Roman Reigns type reign, no pun intended. But I do think that Jacob should be a world champion and should be a respectable world champion that people can get behind. So I do like the way that they're booking Jacob Fatu, making him look like a monster. But I hope that it ultimately ends into him possibly being the world champion maybe at SummerSlam. So, or maybe this is just a boost for him to show that he's a main eventer. He doesn't get Roman this time, but maybe he wins the Royal Rumble and next year he wins the King of the Ring or whatever and gets a title shot, and then WrestleMania we get Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns for the belt and he wins it off him at WrestleMania. Maybe that's the plan. I don't know. But I definitely do think that the world title should be in Jacob Fatu's future. Now let's go to Oba Femi, man. Oba Femi, he was coming off of the WrestleMania win over Brock Lesnar, and the Monday after that, when he came out and he did his, I'm here, the conqueror is here, pretty much. He said, I'm paraphrasing, but he pretty much said, I'm here, I've arrived, I am Oba Femi, I'm that dude. And then he comes out the following week and it's like, we're doing an Oba Femi Open Challenge. Okay, whatever. My thing about open challenges is like I think it's lazy writing. I think it's they don't have a plan for this person, so we're just gonna have an open challenge and have people come out and fight you. And it's like, okay, that's cool to a certain extent, but it's lazy. I think it's laziness, and I think what they're doing with Oba Femi is laziness. I'm not saying that his aura is gone. He's Oba Femi's aura is at his all time high, but they got to figure out what they're gonna do with him next, and they got to put him in a beef, a feud, or somebody with somebody to keep that going. And the ultimate goal for Oba Femi, I know I said it was Jacob Fatu, but also for Oba Femi is to be in the title picture, is to at least, if not eventually, he becomes the world champion. If not this year, next year he wins the Royal Rumble and he goes on to WrestleMania and becomes world champion. And he finish his story like Cody did. I think that that should be the plan. That initially, at least by WrestleMania of next year, Oba Femi is a world champion, whether it be undisputed champion or world champion. Maybe they're running back with him and Cody, but I think the plan is him and CM Punk and Cody at WrestleMania next year. Um, but I do think that Oba Femi needs to be a world champion sometime soon. You don't beat Brock Lesnar, and then all of a sudden you're now back to the mid card. You can't do that to Oba Femi. You have to book him better and in a way, because I do not like these open challenges. I think that he should be booked better. He should be booked as the one of the main attractions on Raw, and the whole plight is to see him eventually get a world championship. You know, I know the story for the chase is always better than when they get the belt, because once they get the belt, a lot of fans kind of start falling off. They get mad because the world champion, which he's the world champion, they get mad when they get oversaturated, overbooked, or whatever. But when they're not there, they get mad when they're not booked enough. So I think that Obafemi should get booked better. I don't like these open challenges. They need to figure something out. Maybe hopefully the next open challenge is somebody who could challenge him and take him to main event status. Um, I've heard rumors of Sheamus. I don't know if Sheamus could take him there, but I'm not saying that he can't have a good feud with Sheamus, but it's kind of hard to book. I get it. It's kind of hard to book for Obafemi when you take out a Brock Lesnar and you do it in the fashion as you did. Like, who can step up to Obafemi? Like, really, really, who can step up to Obafemi? So they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out for sure, for sure. But I do not like the way they're booking him right now. Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker is in an interesting spot right now because right now he's feuding with Seth Rollins. And he's coming off a W over Seth Rollins at Backlash. Of course, there was shenanigans with the Vision, but he's coming off of a dub over Seth Rollins, and he's still pretty much in this feud with Seth Rollins. So, I think that they're trying to use Seth to, build Bron Breakker up to a main event, even though I think he's already main event status. And I know you see as a current theme, these are the three guys on Raw that you guys should that WWE should be building and foundation for on this team, on this roster. Even though I know Jacob Fatu is technically on SmackDown, I think eventually he will get traded to Raw. I think he'll be initially a Raw superstar. So um I think eventually they do need to figure out what they're going to do with Bron Breakker. After this Seth Rollins feud, are they going to use this feud to finally put him in the title picture? Maybe we get him and Roman Reigns eventually. But they do need to figure out what they're going to do with Bron Breakker. And as far as him in the Vision, I think he needs to go away from the Vision. I think it should just be him and Paul Heyman. Let him be Paul Heyman's new guy. I get it. Factions. Paul Heyman has this faction, with the Vision, but I just don't think it's working. I think the initial plan for the Vision, it got nixed with a lot of the injuries. Seth gets hurt, Bron Breakker gets hurt, Bronson Reed gets hurt. You know what I'm saying? And then it left Austin Theory and Logan Paul, and it's just like, all right, that's cool and all, but they just don't move the needle like a Bron Breakker, like a Bronson Reed, and it's just not there. They don't fit with him. So I personally think that they should just move on. Let Logan Paul and Austin Theory kind of be their own thing, maybe, and maybe you give them somebody else. I don't know, but it's just not working with the Vision. It's not. It's not. And I just want Bron Breakker to be, I think he needs to be pushed as badass as he is. He needs to be pushed like that. And eventually the Jacob Fatus, the Bron Breakkers, the Oba Femis, they will be the stable mates of the WWE. They're going to be the big time superstars when the Seth Rollins are gone and Roman Reigns is gone and Cody is gone and any of the superstars that are pushed to the top. CM Punk, those guys are pushed to the top. They're going to be gone. You need to be building around these three young gentlemen because they are the future. They are the future of this company. Javon Evans is the future of this company. You know what I'm saying? He's only 22 right now. So there's some young guys in this company that need to be pushed and booked and set a foundation for the next generation. I just always felt like WWE hasn't done that. They don't really do too good at setting the foundation. They always want to bring back or lean on the nostalgic act, or bring back The Rock. Let's bring back Stone Cold. Let's bring back Triple H and Shawn Michaels and all these other people. And I know they have Triple H and Shawn Michaels have been gone for a minute, but I'm just saying they try to go with the nostalgia act to try to help the company to bring ticket sales up. They want to bring The Rock back to try to bring ticket sales up, and it's like, no, if you book these guys in a certain way, you won't have to do that. Now, it's no problem with booking The Rock, but he shouldn't be the reason that you're booking him because you want to boost your ticket sales. It should be Bron Breakker, Oba Femi, Jacob Fatu's, the Ethan Pages, the Javon Evans, the guys like that. That should be your foundation. The Soul Rukas, you know what I'm saying? I've talked about in my past one. Lizzie Rain eventually will be on the main roster. Blake Monroe, another one. Um, there's just so many superstars that you could just build upon, um, and make a stablemate for the WWE, and yeah, make it staple for the WWE so that you could have superstars to build with in the future. You know what I'm saying? Because you need that. You need that for the next generation, uh, and you definitely need that. You know what I'm saying? Just to set your foundation, man. Because um, if you don't, then it's gonna be the same old, and you're gonna have to depend on Roman Reigns and all these guys to be champions and be in the picture. Cody Rhodes and all these guys. You don't need that. You don't need that. There's just too much talent out here that you guys should be. WWE, TKO. They need to get their stuff together over there and figure out what they're gonna do with these young stars. So those are my thoughts. I just wanted to share with y'all real quick. Nothing crazy, Ethan Page versus Penta at main event. I know he just got there, but Ethan Page has been in the game for a long time. I've always said that if Ethan Page gets the right platform, dude could be a superstar. And I think that Penta's held the belt. He's done his due diligence with that belt. Give Ethan Page, let Ethan Page win that belt. Let him be the IC champion. I think he'll be a good IC champion. I think he did some good things on NXT with the North American Championship. Even when he was the NXT champion, he did some pretty solid things. I think he's going to be one of the better heels. And so I definitely want to see him, get that title. Maybe him and Javon Evans can battle it out. Maybe at SummerSlam, you let Javon Evans beat Ethan Page for the WWE Championship. So, or WWE IC Championship. So, there's a lot going on with the WWE. We'll see what's going on, as far as some of these ladies, and they're coming up. You got Liv Morgan. They got to figure out what they're gonna do with Liv Morgan. I'm hearing that Stephanie Van Kier might be coming back, so maybe they run that back. Um, Roxanne and Raquel. I would imagine that they're probably going to put the tag team titles on them, and make them a big strong staple, with all the three of them having all the belts, or most of the belts, for the women tag team in the world championship with Liv Morgan, to make Judgment Day stronger. So I'm not mad at that. Um, uh, Toxic Influence is another group that I feel like they should send to the moon, man. I think that those ladies, ever since they've came to SmackDown, they finally brought something to get people interested, um, in the women's division, as far as everything that's going on with these ladies. I think that JC Jane is. I wouldn't be mad if she beats Rhea Ripley for the belt. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Like, I know that's crazy to sound. I know everybody loves Fatal Influence, but I just think that JC Jane, Fallon Helen, uh, Henley, my bad, Fallon Henley. I think that those girls, um, they just been doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Laney Reed, like, yeah, they just been doing their thing, and I personally think that you should just book them. At least give JC Jane the world champion or WWE championship. I'm not mad at that if she beats Rhea Ripley. And it doesn't have to be clean. It can be dirty. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're there for, to bring, they're there to bring some, chaos to SmackDown. And that's what they need. A little chaos, and we saw that Jade Cargill is back, so we're probably gonna run the the Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley beef back. We'll see how that looks with her and her faction, the baddies, you know what I'm saying, with my EM and what's her name? BFAB. I think that, that's going to be something to be looking forward to. So we'll see. we'll see, man. A lot of stuff is going on, man. I can't wait to see it. Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. That's going to be interesting to see at uh, Clash at Italy. It'd be interesting to see what they're going to do with Gunther. Are they going to let Gunther beat Cody Rhodes for the belt, or is this just a fill-in? Because we, we haven't even still seen Randy Orton since he's kicked uh, Cody in the face after WrestleMania match. Like, he's been MIA. It's just like we just threw that away. Like, I get it, he beat him, but we're just gonna throw that away. Like, and then they teased a little bit him and CM Punk. Like, well, what's going on with that? Like, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with Cody and Gunther. Like, Gunther has his, he had his promise from Paul Heyman to get the title match, and he tried to attack Cody again. And Cody was ready for it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, I'm interested to see a Gunther and Cody program, a feud. Hopefully, it's not just a one-off. Hopefully, it's a continuous thing up until SummerSlam. So we'll see what's going on, man. That's my time for today. I hope you guys enjoy what you see. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button. I really appreciate y'all, man, tapping in. I know, like I said, I always say there's a whole bunch of content creators out there that you could be messing with, that you could listen to. And just for you guys to listen to me for the few minutes that you listen to me, I appreciate it. Like I said, subscribe, like it, like the video, share with your other wrestling friends, man, so this thing can spread out, man, because it's not easy for me to do this by myself. I'm so used to doing podcasts with other people that me doing this by myself and just speaking my thoughts, this is a little bit, kind of different for me. I've done it before in the past, but it's been so long since I've done it like this. So I appreciate y'all, man, rocking with me. And until next time, man, I am gone.